I will now call the February 1st, 2010 Blue Springs City Council meeting to order. We will ask you to stand. We will observe a moment of silence, and then I will lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. I would like to welcome those of you in attendance tonight, as well as those that might be watching on cable TV 7. I would also like to welcome Attorney Chris Williams of Williams and Campbell, who is filling in for Bob McDonald, our city attorney tonight. And Mr. Williams is no stranger to this council chambers. So we welcome you in another position. Instead of standing before us, you're sitting here observing and making sure that we stay on track as far as legal matters are concerned. So anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
The next item is the consent agenda. Councilman Shaver asked that I pull item E. Are there other items that need to be pulled? If not, we'll accept a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Lauer? Aye. Councilman Reed? Aye. Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Shaver?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Solon?
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Councilman Shaver.
Yes, Your
Item
Honor.
E.
I thought it might be appropriate to have the staff give us a little bit of background on this item. I've had some residents ask about what are we doing who have heard about the federal requirement for radio changes in 2013. Some residents ask, what's the city doing about it? And my understanding, this is this particular item on the agenda is part of our due diligence to evaluate alternative solutions to meet the communication needs, and I thought it might be nice to have staff explain it.
Mr. Johnson.
Please free.
Thank you, Councilman Shaver, and you are absolutely correct. This item tonight is a part of the staff's due diligence that we are hoping to undertake in preparation of the work session that will be scheduled for the 5th Monday in March. And with us tonight is Dan Hood, our IT director, and Todd Pelham, the assistant city administrator. And Dan, go ahead and come up, but I may kick this to Mr. Pelham at the moment. And Todd, if you would take just a couple of moments and perhaps give some overview on this particular item.
Yes, thank you, Eric. Tonight, before you, we have Tesla Consulting also is here. To basically, we're trying to frame the issue, as Eric said, for March 29th. Two of the options that we're currently exploring are completely upgrading the current system to what we call a digital format. That pricing has already been, that work has already been completed, and those numbers are documented in the CIP program that are moving forward. The work that we're exploring with this consulting firm and this scope of work is to look at our existing system and stay with the analog system, but become FCC compliant, and that the phrasing is narrowband compliant. So in preparation for our March 29th discussion, staff is trying to frame two options for you to discuss. One, pricing. Two, coverage for our public safety personnel in the field to make sure that we deploy this technology and we put that police officer in the field with the appropriate equipment, and that we cover all areas of the city. And then also we're going to touch on interoperability, which is this idea of how do we communicate with all of our public safety providers in the field, firefighters, and other EMS professionals that might respond to a situation. So we feel for you to make the best decision on giving us policy direction for a very important endeavor and a very costly endeavor. We need to have the appropriate pricing to allow you to make the best decision on how to move forward. So the March 29th work session will be very critical in how we frame the issue for you. So that's kind of the issue. Two options for your review. There's a lot of technical issues behind this that we have some professionals here that we can dive into, but at this time, staff is not prepared to, comment on this other without the use of, a very well-respected consulting firm that we have here tonight that has done the work before and also has provided work for the Mid-America Regional Council and several of the other cities around the metro area. So that might.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that.
Dan, is there anything else that you'd like to add? Or
No, I think, I believe Todd pretty much covered it. As he mentioned, from Tusa Consulting, we have Dean Hart and Lee Ward, if council would have any other questions. And as Todd mentioned, I have just one slide here that I will bring up. Essentially, our existing radio system is not compliant with the pending January 1st, 2013 FCC mandate, and we really have two options available to us. First is to replace the existing analog system and go with a new P25 compliant digital system. And then the second option is to upgrade our existing analog system. It would remain an analog system, but it would comply with the FCC's mandate. In 2008, we engaged TUSA to perform a study related to the digital system, and that, as Todd mentioned, is coverage maps, the functionality, the features, the design, as well as budgetary cost numbers. And so at this time, we're wanting to go back and, just based on due diligence, perform the same study related to upgrading the existing system.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Answer.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I would move to approve item 3E.
Is there a second? Second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next, we have an introduction and reading of Bill 4102, approving final plats for Parkway Estates.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
Great.
First reading of Bill number 4102, an ordinance approving the final plat for Parkway Estates, PRO, 18th plat, lots 382 and 388, tract H-1.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Councilman Solon?
Yes, I had a few comments to make regarding Parkway Estates, and it's more of a bigger picture than opposed to these two lots, which I'm happy to see they're putting two houses on, and hopefully it stirs some kind of development out there. The preliminary plat for this project was approved in July of 2006, and at that time, 139 acres approximately was cleared and has been setting because of the economy for the last 3.5 years. The problem is that when you clear the land and remove all the impervious surfaces, like the grass and the trees, then the silt and the runoff goes to the surrounding property owners. We do have a solution in our UDC codes. We discussed this at the Colonial Highlands. The city has adopted the AWPA guidelines, which is the American Public Works Association, Section 5600. And I know I'm going to bore you guys a little bit with this, but in our adopted policies and practices, it says that you clear only what is required for construction. Where possible, large projects should be cleared and graded as construction progresses, and mass clearing should be avoided. I would say probably when the developer cleared this, he did not know the economy was going to be bad, but we have cleared that land and it's been setting vacant. And reestablish with vegetation as soon as possible after construction is completed. Certain sections of large construction projects may be completed before others and be ready for stabilization before the total project is completing. Waited until the end of the project to commence all site stabilization may leave areas exposed for unnecessary long duration. Areas that have been cleared and graded but will not be constructed on for more than 14 days, 7 days for steep slopes, must be stabilized with mulch or temporary vegetation. According to the codes we've adopted, it's 14 days, not 4 years. I think we need to enforce this policy and get that property stabilized with temporary vegetation. And I guess I'm asking staff, I don't know if it's an engineering question or a question for Mr. Allen, but have we at any time tried to enforce this code and get that land stabilized instead of just dirt, getting some kind of temporary plantings there?
Well, the developer has put the the necessary detention basins in there to control the stormwater runoff. The vegetation that's established, I haven't been out there in a couple of months, but I'm sure there's natural vegetation that has been established out there. If they need to overseed, that's something that we can talk to the developer about.
So is there a timetable when the snow clears, if there's not vegetation growing, that we're going to implement our policies regarding that?
Well, we'll take a look at it, but it would be something that would occur in March. This wouldn't be the appropriate time to try to establish seed.
Right. I guess I was just, my concern is that,
Mr. Johnson.
thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Solon. And this is something that you and I discussed in one of our recent meetings at City Hall, and it's certainly something that staff is going to be mindful of as on all of the projects, the existing ones that have been approved and have been in place now for a while, as well as those that are on our review process, and certainly will be exploring opportunities to sit down with the developer conditions become more favorable for perhaps reestablishing vegetation. This developer worked with us during the past summer to address a number of water-related runoff issues on a temporary basis. It certainly wasn't ideal, and if we can improve our processes going forward in a manner that is conducive to the developers and the homeowners in adjacent areas, we're certainly going to do that.
And I bring this up because I have heard from citizens that have asked why we've just had dirt piles over there. So I do think it's especially, let's hope the housing market picks up and that we get houses built in there. But in the interim, we really need to do something to stabilize that property.
Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Second reading of Bill Number 4102, an ordinance approving the final plat for Parkway Estates, PRO, 18th plat, lots 382 and 383, tract H-1.
Your Honor, I move the bill be approved on its second and final reading and be assigned the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Reed? Aye. Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Shaver?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Solon?
Aye.
Councilman Lauer?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, giving ordinance number 4285.
Next is an introduction and reading of Bill 4103, approving final plat for Cronista Estate.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
Okay,
First reading of Bill Number 4103, an ordinance approving the final plat for Cronister Estates.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Second reading of Bill Number 4103, an ordinance approving the final plat for Cronister Estates.
I move the bill be approved on its second and final reading and be assigned the appropriate ordinance number.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Shaver?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Solon?
Aye.
Councilman Lauer? Aye. Councilman Reed? Aye. Carried unanimously, giving ordinance number 4286.
Thank you. Next, we're down to mayoral announcements already. But council, don't you get too happy because we have an executive session. I have three things I want to mention tonight. Number one is we want to congratulate Christine Cates, who is featured in the January issue of the Missouri Municipal Review. Christine is recognized as one of the 11 certified public finance officers in the state of Missouri. To obtain certification as a certified public finance officer, a candidate is tested on 5 major disciplines in public finance. The Government Finances Office Association administers the program, and there are 410 active CPFOs in the program. And if you got your copy of the Missouri Municipal Review, that full article's in there. I won't read it to you, but congratulations to Christine. And what the Missouri Municipal Review revealed is something that all of us already knew, that you're the best. Next, we want to congratulate our Community Development Director, Scott Allen, on being the father of a new baby girl. So anyway, her mother and daughter and everybody's doing well? Very well, thank you. Good. Last but not least, for those that plan to come in a couple of weeks to the Blue Springs City Council meeting on a Monday, don't do it. We're going to be meeting on a Tuesday. So we'll be meeting Tuesday, February 16th, 6:30, same place, same time. So we'll look forward to seeing all of you out in the audience then, and all those that might be watching on cable TV. So that being said, I don't have any visitors' cards. We have any visitors wish to speak? Don't have any cards. Seeing none, I would accept a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no? We're going to take about 2 minutes to allow our visitors to excuse themselves, and then we will go into executive session. Thank you for coming. You're gonna get a chance to go see Blue Springs beat your daughter.